I said, "Are you interested in stopping your medication?" He said, "No, I'm very happy with my medication. Thank you very much. I always respect everyone's right for what they choose to put into their body. And shouldn't we? It's our God-given right."
Barbara O'Neill introduces the crucial topic of managing high blood pressure, a condition that affects many as they age. In her discussion, she explores the causes of arterial damage, debunks common myths about cholesterol, and highlights the impact of lifestyle choices on heart health. By offering practical, natural strategies including diet changes, herbal remedies, and stress management, she empowers viewers to take control of their well-being and maintain healthy blood pressure levels. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on future videos.
So what causes damage to the arterial wall? The arterial wall is made up of little endothelium cells, and they get damaged quite easily. So environmental poisons, chemicals, damage the cells. Cigarette smoke. In fact, in a cigarette there's 4,000 chemicals, more chemicals. Chemicals in clothing, chemicals in laundry detergents, chemicals in food. They're all coming in, contributing to the damage. What also damages is mercury. Mercury is a neurotoxin. It can damage the arterial walls. What can also damage the arterial walls is mould. Mould is a toxic poison. So who's going to plug up the holes, students? LDL. That's its role. Unfortunately today, people are not aware of the damage that these chemicals are causing, and so what's happening in the arterial walls is we've got build-up. What's that called? That's atherosclerosis. To say that cholesterol causes heart disease is like saying the fire trucks are causing the fire. Well, they must be. Have you noticed they're the one common denominator at every fire? God made the liver to make cholesterol for a purpose. It's just doing its job. Something else comes into the equation. There are little protein molecules floating all through our blood. And when someone's on a very high carbohydrate diet, high sugar diet, there's got excess glucose floating through the blood, and it connects with these little protein molecules and becomes sticky, and it sticks. They stick to the walls of the arteries, and what they can do is they can get dislodged, and there's the blockage. That's the number one cause of a stroke if it's in the carotid arteries. It's the number one cause of a heart attack happening in the heart muscle. So can you see by what I've shown you here, it's not one thing that causes heart disease, it's a whole lot of little things. Can that be cleared out? Absolutely, it can be cleared out.
She emphasizes the significance of controlling blood pressure to prevent conditions like heart disease and stroke, particularly as people age. O'Neill discusses various factors that damage the arterial walls.
Dr. Malcolm Kendrick, who's a British cardiovascular surgeon, notice the title of his book, The Great Cholesterol Con. He said for the first time, normal levels of a normal vital body substance is being called a disease. He said there is no proof. There is no proof that cholesterol causes heart disease. Now that's shocking. I have a few books. One's called The Great Cholesterol Lie by Dr. Dwight Lundell, another cardiovascular surgeon. The Great Cholesterol Deception by Dr. Peter Dingle, he's a PhD in Australia. The Great Cholesterol Hoax, The Great Cholesterol Myth by Johnny Bowden. We're running out of words. It's not cholesterol. And it's not fat. If it was fat, the Maasai would be dying like flies. They live on meat, blood, and milk. Zero heart disease. And if it was saturated fat, when white man landed on the South Pacific Islands, they would have found a huge amount of heart disease and strokes in the islanders. Zero. And yet they're eating saturated fat every meal. The coconut. The French, oh, they love their butters and their cheeses and their creams. Very low heart disease.
She critiques the idea that cholesterol causes heart disease, referencing several doctors and studies to claim that cholesterol is essential for bodily functions like cell repair and hormone production.
How much water a day? At least 8 glasses. They're 8-ounce glasses, little by little, all through the day. It's the best blood thinner. When I used to be the health director at Misty Mountain Health Retreat in Australia, I did a live blood analysis. We took a drop of blood, put it on the screen, on the microscope, and it came up on the screen. And sometimes I would see blood that was all clumped, like this. Blood should be like this. And I would always investigate, and I would find in 99% of cases the person hadn't drunk enough water. So they'd start drinking more water. I'd look at their blood 2 days later and it looks like this. Misty Mountain Health Retreat used to average 12 to 14 guests every week. This is 3 weeks a month, so years and years of looking at blood. So it's hundreds of bloods I've looked at. And as I said to you, 99% of the time, it was dehydration that caused this. So I know that water is the best blood thinner. But also salt. Let me give you the salt story. Seawater contains 92 minerals. Of those 92 minerals, 30% is made up of sodium and 50% is made up of chloride. And because sodium chloride make up the most amount of minerals, they're the first crystals formed when water is evaporated from seawater. So man scoops that up, bleaches it white, puts aluminium with it so it runs freely. There's your table salt. And the doctor's right, table salt can contribute to high blood pressure.
A high carbohydrate and sugar diet can cause glucose to stick to arterial walls, leading to blockages. She recommends a plant-based diet as an effective way to reduce harmful substances and improve arterial health.
Table salt only has 2 minerals. Let me show you why. I'll draw the cell again. Around the cell is a bilayered membrane, and in that bilayered membrane there are calcium-potassium pumps. And those, sodium-potassium pumps. And those sodium-potassium pumps are always going like this. And the highest concentration of mineral outside the cell is sodium. The highest concentration inside the cell is potassium. There should be a little bit of sodium there. When someone's sprinkling table salt on everything, their sodium levels start to go too high. Potassium is found in all our fresh fruits and vegetables. If someone's not eating fresh fruit and vegetables, potassium levels drop. Now these 2 minerals are so harsh that they can kill the taste buds. That's why people put it on everything without even tasting whether it needs it or not. So what's happening when this happens, sodium going too high, potassium dropping too low? Osmosis and diffusion happens when the highest concentration merges into a lower concentration. So now we're getting sodium go too high in the cell, and that causes the cell to swell. There's your high blood pressure. Dr. Lilangri, he's a French doctor, he's written a whole book on salt. He said, we have no problems with salt in France, because he said in France, we have hand-harvested sea salt. It's called Celtic salt. And Celtic salt has 82 minerals. He said, when I get someone with high blood pressure, I put them on Celtic salt because it brings the proper mineral balance in. If someone's used to no salt, they should start slowly. Dr. Robert Thompson, in his book, The Calcium Lie, He says a little tiny crystal of salt, that might be the size of a sesame seed, before every glass of water, so that's 8 times a day. He says all that'll do is replace the minerals you lost yesterday. We lose it when we perspire, we lose it when we urinate, we lose it from our colon. And we must replace it.
O'Neill highlights the benefits of lifestyle modifications, such as regular exercise, stress management, yoga, meditation, adequate sleep, and hydration to improve cardiovascular health and reduce arterial blockages. She discusses the differences between processed table salt and natural salts like Celtic salt. According to her, natural salts maintain mineral balance and can help manage blood pressure.
So before I close, I want to introduce you to a few herbs. One is the cayenne pepper. In Psalm 104 verse 14, the Bible says that God gave herbs for the service of man. And cayenne pepper is one of the best heart herbs we have. Cayenne pepper does 3 things. It thins the blood. Whereas aspirin, it thins the blood to the point where it causes eye bleeds, brain bleeds, and stomach bleeds. It's not a safe drug. Whereas cayenne pepper, it thins the blood and it'll heal the brain bleeds from the aspirin in the brain and the eye and the stomach. Cayenne pepper also dilates the blood vessels. So with dilating the blood vessels, you get a more effective and efficient flow of blood through the whole body. And cayenne pepper strengthens the arterial wall. So if there has been damage in the arterial walls, the cayenne pepper will strengthen arterial walls. It's a powerful herb. How do you take it? Start with 1/4 teaspoon in about 1/3 cup of water just before each meal. Throw it down, it'll tingle a bit, but the tingle stops.
O'Neill recommends herbs like cayenne pepper and hawthorn berry, which she claims can help strengthen arterial walls, improve blood circulation, and naturally regulate blood pressure. If you found this video informative, make sure to give a like, subscribe, and press the bell icon so that you won't miss out on any future videos.